or repost kitu mnikujie kwangu nikiwa nimelala, whether I'm on the streets or I'm out or I'm not. I am unsafe. Nipende nisipende watanikujia.
The clarion call yenye inatuita kwa street ni kupata change kwa hii country. Na hiyo change hatuwezi pata kama wana isolate wale wenye waliuliwa atiende wapatiwe peanuts, wapatiwe milioni 2.
Nimechoka being in a world where leaders wametupromise watamit vision 2030 but still wanatulead blindly. So mimi nimechoka. Thanks to BBC News and K24 juu tumechoka kuona vijana usiku na mchana kwa mchanga wakitafuta kitu ni walishe nyinyi ma tax collectors, then all of a sudden kwa ground mnamrudisha akiwa mchanga. Sisi tumechoka.
Kama kawaida, form ni kuongea ikutoke. Good evening and welcome to another Tuesday of the Gen Z Manifesto, where our core business ni kuongea itutoke. We are of course live on K24 and Kameme TV, and I'm your host, Miss Kahiro. Now tonight, we are speaking about a rather sensitive matter, tribalism. Look, we started the Gen Z movement last year saying we are leaderless, partyless, and tribeless. But is that the same situation kwa ground at the moment? We once collectively decided to never ever become our parents who used the tribal card to make decisions for years. So what has changed? Are we losing the plot? Many politicians now say that the Gen Z protests have turned tribal. Is this true? For you who has been on the streets for a number of times, were you there for tribal reasons, or was it purely for other issues happening in the country that you wanted addressed? Now, comment sections on social media are also proving that we are returning to the dark times where tribalism ruled us. Utapata watu wanarushiana maneno pale, guys. What changed? And the main question tonight is, have Gen Zs truly liberated themselves from tribal politics? Bado tuko tribeless, wadau. Please engage us on our WhatsApp number and we'll be sure to read your comments in a few. Meanwhile, I'm joined, of course, in studio by my co-hosts Linda and Kagina. Hi, guys.
Good evening, Miss K.
Hi.
You know, let me try paint a picture. The way you asked the question, are Gen Z tribeless? You know, we have so many activists right here in the country, and they've formed so many groups or sort of communities of their own. Even the Gen Zs that we have right here, they have their own communities. And when you look at these communities, they are from different, they hail from different parts of the country,
Right.
yeah? You find people from Kisumu, Narok, Kericho, you know. And most of them actually found themselves in an online cycle. So I feel like these tribal lines have actually been broken, and they actually could be called online tribes.
I
Yeah?
see. Lakini sasa comment sections, Linda, you know I'm a heavy
I
user
know,
of TikTok.
I know.
Ukienda pale watu nyinyi wa, hey, let us relax, guys, and we're going to debunk this tonight. Kagina.
And I think hiyo ndo conversation tunachukua leo. We just want to see whether we are really tribeless ama we've rebranded it into different hashtags and tumerusha maneno ya shenga hapo kidogo, tunaitana cousins, sijui shemeji, and it's the same old tribalism that we're still peddling among us. It will be interesting. Leo conversation na leo tuambiane ukweli, tuache uongo. Are we still tribeless?
Today we are the truthful men and women. Okay. Tuko na watu hapa kwa studio who are going to tell us their opinions on this matter. Tuko tribeless kweli bado Gen Zs. Meanwhile, acha tusikie from majibu kwa ground. Watu wanasema nini huko?
Ndio hiyo bana, Miss K, Kagina na Linda mkuu wa studio. Hii kitu ikianza tulikuwa formless, headless, leaderless, tribeless. Saa hii tunauliza bado tuko tribeless ama zi? Kuna watu wa Murima, kuna watu wa Lake, kuna watu wa Oshe na watu wengine sijui ni kina nani. Wacha nibonge na wao. Kama kweli niko kwa ground, niko na majenzi. Kujeni karibu muonekane kwa TV. Chifa na wacheki bana. Nianze wapi? Nianze huko mwisho leo. Sawa. Bazu kuja hapa karibu. Uniambie jina lako nani, alafu pia uniambie Gen Z as it stands saa hii. Bado tuko tribeless.
Majina yangu ni Cyrus Wawero. Sahi bado tuko tribeless, tuko rinderless. Yeah.
Hakuna watu wa hii side ni hii side, as in wote mna move same direction.
Wanasiasa ndio wanajaribu kutukawanyisha, lakini si tuko focus as Gen Z and we are moving in the same direction and we are still tribeless, rinderless. Yeah, and we are focused.
Hapo kwa wanasiasa, wacha nipate Bazu pia sentiments zake pia wanakuita nani, alafu pia uniambie bro, bado mko tribeless?
Kwa majina naitwa Chris Otieno. Sisi kama Gen Z tuko tribeless hadi sasa. Wale ambao wanasema ni viongozi wetu, si viongozi wetu. Si bado tuko leaderless na tuko na aim yetu ni 27. We will be there. Sisi kama Gen Z tutasimama hizo viti na sisi tunataka kutoa wale viongozi ambao tuliwapea kazi na waezi. Wao wote lazima waende nyumbani. Ni hayo.
Hiyo ndio aim.
Hiyo ndio aim.
Aya, wazi. Wacha nipatie Bazu pia amepiga tai bro. Hey, noma. Pia wanakutana alafu pia ashikilia basi maiji. Venye yuko sahi bro. As in kitambo wasome kwa kivote along tribal lines. Na sasa hivi amesema mna aim 2027. Bado mko tribeless?
Yeah, kwa jina naitwa John Nyarieko kutoka zile sehemu za Nyamira, Magombo Ward, hapo ndio natoka. Kama sahi bado sisi Gen Z wote tuko tribeless, leaderless, lakini kwenda hapo mbeleni tutatoa mwelekeo ni upi tunafuata. Vile nimetembea hivi Gen Z tuko na lugha moja, tuko tribeless, leaderless. Yeah.
Unajua for long wase pia wamekuwa kivote along tribal lines, na pia sehemu cha kuna leaders wenye wamekama up wanajaribu kuleta politics za regions kwa hii movement ya Gen Z. Mtajaribu aje kama Gen Z ku ensure that mko divided na politicians na ku ensure that mko focused na hiyo goal moja?
Okay, kwa sasa tunajua au politicians wanafanya kazi. Tunajua mbinu zao, wanataka kudivide ndio watrudi forever. Lakini kwa sasa hawatafanya hivyo tena. Sisi kama Gen Z ni watu tuko kitu kimoja. Yeah, hawatafanya hivyo tena. Hawatatuwanya tena. Yeah.
Bro, wengi wanasema mko tribeless na hakuna venye msene za come in between. Mta ensure aje that Gen Z wako Coast, Gen Z wako Rift Valley, Gen Z wako Mount Kenya, huko Lakeside, mna speak one language without ile msana nasema hapana, mimi mtu wetu alikuwa appointed kwa cabinet, sifai kuingia kwa movement ya Gen Z?
Thank you. Kwa majina mimi naitwa Benson Munene, na kwa uhakika mimi siku ya leo nitasema kwa ukweli Gen Z so far we are tribeless, we are leaderless. And on matters to ensure aje kila msee mwenye ako kila maybe coast, ako western, ako wapi, ako kule eastern, sisi wote unajua Gen Z ni watu wamesoma. So juu tumesoma hakuna venye utaweza kuinterfere na mwenye someone who is informed. So the good thing is Gen Z we are informed. We know what is right, we know what is supposed for us. So there's nobody who is going to divide us. That is our stand, and we are ready for anything come 2027.
Aya, maandamano ya juzi bro, kuna wasomeleta siasa hapo wanasema ati ilikuwa na happen one region, sijui region hakukuwa na maandamano Gen Z. Maandamano ilikuwa kwa 27 counties. Utasemaje hao wasenyo wanasema that ilikuwa kwa region moja, so hii kitu ni tribal?
Kwa majina naitwa Ian Obongo Ambila, lakini linajulikana sana ni Stula. Kitu ningependa kusema ya kwanza, tribalism ni kitu exist kwa sababu hii ni karata yenye wanapull, wanasiasa wamezoea kutumia. Kwa hivyo sisi hatutakubali hii karata wanaleta, kwa sababu saa zile niko na mashida kama Mkenya. Saa zile niko marginalized kama kijana, hiyo shida huyu Mkamba na relate on, Mkikuyu na relate to it, na hata Masai ana relate to it. So I think this is just their way of dividing us, and they just realized that tuko very strong and tuko united, na tunajua agenda zetu na shida zetu na tutaziaddress irrespective of where we come from. Yeah.
Aya, the only guy leo bana kwa ground atwa Precious Mwana City. Pia wewe sitasema wanakuita nini, nishakutambulisha. Do you still hold the same sentiments that as we speak Gen Z bado ni tribeless?
Yeah, Gen Zs are still tribeless. despite the government want to manipulate our mind with the things like Murima, the lakeside, but we still stand with our decision that we are tribeless. No matter anything, we will not fight the other brothers in our region like the Kambas people, because they are facing the same problem. So the government just know that the Gen Zs are firm and they'll be tribeless in anything. You will not manipulate our mind. You will not do anything for us to change in any matter. So take motion and watch the pace as we are going outside to fight you and take the seats.
Bazu, mtaensure that majenzi mna speak the same language without being divided along tribal lines?
Asante Majibu. We've always been here talking about the same thing. Right now, unaona that is the political card yenye wamepull. They want to divide us. Now, one of the way in which they can do this is by mentioning, I'm saying that Gen Z, we are divided in terms of tribes na vitu kama hizo. So far so good, sisi hatujakuwa tribeless in any way. Matter of fact, we are very proud of our heritage because it is also enshrined and protected in the Constitution of Kenya. Yeah? Na mimi kama Mluya, I'm very proud to be a Luya. My fellow comrades, kuna Wakikuyu, kuna Wakamba, kuna Wajaluo, and every other tribe. We are all part of the Gen Z. Now, we've never at one point made a statement ama tujai patikana mahali tukisema, sisi ni Gen Z kutoka side ya Mount Kenya. Ama sisi ni Gen Z kutoka kule kwa lake. We've never said anything of the sort. But what we are seeing is the group of politicians who are trying to masquerade around us in the pretense of taking leadership of the movement. Lakini sisi tunawaambia, and it's very much in the public domain. Gen Zs are not tribal, we are not tribal, and everybody knows it. So when we hear people from the government side saying that the maandamanos ambazo tumekuwa nazo zilikuwa based on tribal politics, hizo ni zao. They want to sell us that narrative, na sisi hatutakubali.
Unajua leo sisi kawaida yetu ni kuongea tutoke. Bazu, kuja hapa karibu, sijui mbona mnaenda mbali. Wewe kujeni bana, tunaongea tutoke leo. Bazu, kuna wenye walikuwa nasema that hizi maandamano za juzi zilikuwa za it's a one community movement ama demonstrations. Utuambiaje, je, mkiwa kwa ground ilikuwa community moja imedominate maandamano ama mlikuwa kimoja?
Okay, mimi kitu naweza sema, unajua mtu ambaye ana address hii issue akisema labda ni tribal, ni kitu yenye anajaribu kufanya kutwist hii maneno, because we are not following any tribe. Because if you talk about tribe, which tribe are you talking about? The Kenyan tribe, or what are you talking about? Because tukiangalia mambo ya maandamano, it has been happening all over the country. Si kwamba ati watu wa pande fulani ndo walikuwa wanafanya maandamano ama wanakuwa incited na mtu fulani, because these things people are being driven by anger because of the things that they are doing to us. As youths, we go to school, we come here and start tunaenda kuzunguka huku. So unapata mtu amezunguka hiyo time yote, anatarajiwa na wazazi, anatarajiwa na familia mzima ili aweze kuchange, kwa sababu mzazi alikuwa investment ya mzazi. So unapata mambo yenye sisi tunapitia, hiyo ndo ina drive tukiwa na hasira kwamba we are not going to allow this to happen as a people. We are not tribal. That is what they have to understand.
Unajua kuna kitu moja imekuwa happen that ati mimi junior area fulani, mimi ndio kingpin, as in mimi ndio politician mwenye wananijua hiyo area, mimi ndio kingpin. So nikisema watu wa my community mna move this direction, wote ni hivyo. Majenzi mnasemaje kuhusu story that, for example, kama Rao ni uko Nyanza, yeye ni kingpin, so akishasema tu move direction, watu wote wana move the same direction, napiga kura msemo moja. Majenzi, do you still hold the same thoughts ama mtafanyaje kuensure that hiyo kitu inaisha?
Unajua shida zenye tuko nazo si shida za viongozi, na viongozi wenye tuko nao pia si watu wenye wametusupport kwa hii, kwa sababu watu wengi wamepretend like hao watu tunasema labda tunaweza fuata kama viongozi walishapotoka. All the things they are doing to us is not the same direction we should follow, because mtu anakuambia hivi na interest yake ni personal interest. Sisi watu tunateseka huku nje. Sasa ukipata mtu mwenye ameingilia, for example tuliandamana, watu wakauawa, and at that expense mtu anaenda kuchukua uongozi, anaingiza watu wake huko kama kiongozi. So sisi hatufuati mtu yeyote. Kwanza unasema ati mtu ana organize watu wanatoka. No, that is not even ukiangalia the things like wanaangalia tribalism. Wakati sisi tunaingia kwa ground, hakuna mtu anasema ati kiongozi fulani ametuleta. Na kama ni kiongozi, like those are the people who are organizing the goons to come and infiltrate our demonstration.
Wacha pia ni kuna kiongozi ameingia hapa bro. Wanakuita nani bro? Alafu pia uniambie Gen Zs kama vile nimeuliza wase wengine, are you still tribeless?
Majina yangu ni Brian Gitari. Gen Zs are tribeless, faceless, leaderless when it comes to maandamano. But when it comes to the ballot, that is where the division comes in.
Hapo sasa, tuambie.
So, unaona for example, watu wengi walijitokeza kama Gen Z leaders, wakapigwa na majenzi wenzao, wakapigwa na fellow comrades and all those things. Hapo sasa, that is where we miss it. Because if we fail as Gen Zs to have one, imagine for example, Gen Zs wote wenye wanaungana, wako na leader mwenye ni mwanasiasa place fulani. Watu wote wana support the Gen Z movement, all of them are behind one leader, but Gen Z themselves, they don't have a leader. And that is one thing that enye itakuja yaribia Gen Z hiyo shughuli yote enye wamekuwa wakifanya.
Aya, ni nini basi inaweza ensure that mtakuwa mna speak the same language, ile lugha ya maandamano ndio ile kwa ballot?
I think that is when Gen Z should come and have their own parties, have their own coalitions as Gen Zs, not just ati sasa mkienda kwa ballot mko na for example a particular leader mwenye ana lead as the Gen Zs, but we Gen Z hauna mtu mwenye atakalia ile kiti a face for example president, a face deputy, amwambie hivi ndio Gen Zs wanataka. They don't have a party, they don't have unity when it comes to the ballot. They only have unity when maandamano inaitwa inasema tutokee kama Gen Zs. That is where the main problem is.
Unaongea kama kiongozi bana, hiyo luku make sure umetafuta kiti 2027. Wacha ni bonge na kiongozi bazuku hapa. Ame bring point ya maana sana that ma Gen Z mnaongea lugha moja, kikuja ni maandamano. Kujeni hashtags G77 nini, hashtags you must go, but kujeni kwa ballot mnaongea different languages. Mta make sure aje that hiyo kitu inaisha kama 2027.
Ni ukweli. Right now unajua hatuko very much in a hurry ya kutafuta leader wetu atakuwa nani alafu tumpresent mbele. Hizi ni stories zenye tumeona zikifanyika. Let me give you a recap. Tulikuwa na mtu mwenye alikuwa anaitwa Morara. Tulikuwa na mtu alikuwa anaitwa Kasamuel. What happened? Tuliwaleta tu kidogo kuonyesha tu like these are the kind of leadership that we want to structure, people who think and reason like this. And then what happened? The government decided to take them. Sasa saizi wanataka tufanye the same. Na ukisikiza by there a lot of people are actually asking nani mkubwa wenyu, nani mkubwa wenyu. Now we are not going to tell them who it is right now. Watch your time ikifika.
But viongozi wako ama sime kiongozi wa Gen Z huko.
Kiongozi yako na si mmoja, viongozi wako. Kile kenye tunafanya tunataka tukuje pamoja. And it is very much possible. Tutakuja pamoja so that we can now come up with one ultimate kiongozi mwenye atatusukuma mbele. And for the political parties, right now it is just not about maandamano peke yake. We are even going as far as creating the political parties. Tayari as we speak, we have more than 5 organized political parties that people are interested in joining. And with these political parties, we are very sure that tutachukua uongozi.
Aya, wacha nirudi kwa historia ya Kingpins bana juu hapo kwa Kingpins no, kama kuna vitu zinaharibika hapo that mna hiyo kuvote along tribal lines wewe inaingilia sana. Come 2027 ama come the next general elections, majenzi mtaensure okay, mko nao wenye labda watasema bazu wewe ndio vocal sana Mount Kenya, wewe ndio Kingpin wa Mount Kenya, ama hiyo ndio pia inaleta tribalism kabisa.
Kwanza hiyo mambo ya Kingpin imeharibu zaidi, kwa sababu a whole community haiwezi kuwa ina rally behind just one person who is just a fellow human being who could be wrong. Lama to disagree ndio to agree. Na ya pili, hii mambo ya Kingpin inatumika kumarginalize communities zetu na areas zetu azipati development. Kwa sababu sasa ile umesema Kingpin anataka hivi, who Kingpin it could be wrong, it could be having a very different agenda from the real issues that people are raising. So 2027 sisi hatutaangalia ati wewe ni Kingpin sijui wapi. Sisi tunataka tu track record yako na agenda zako vile umezikamilisha. Kama kiongozi takurudisha, na kama umefail wewe unaenda nyumbani. Ukuwa umeshikwa mkono na nani hatutaki kujua, kwa sababu hawa watu wa kushikana mkono ndio wamekuwa kituletea viongozi wabaya, wanakula resources zetu, wanakosa kuempower vijana wetu, then saizi wanakuja na narratives hapa hivi. Meanwhile vijana wanaumia hapa. So it's time for the youth to unite and to fight back, and the only way we can win this is through uniting as young people. Hiyo mambo ya kununua vijana unampea 500 anakuja kuchapa kijana mwenzake hapa mwenye anapigania future yake, tumekataa. Na hata wale vijana mnatumika saizi, kwa hiyo the future will judge you so harshly because you are fighting your fellow men instead of joining them in the fight, because once vitu zimekaa vizuri, sisi wote tutasikia vizuri. Unga ikikuwa ni 100, si ni 100 kwa kila kijana, sio kwa wale walikuwa narusha mamawe na ama kwa wale wenye walikuwa naandamana. So vijana, it's in our hands. Ni sisi ndio tunacheza na future yetu na itatu cost.
Haya, wacha nimalizie. Kulikuwa na story ili kula hewa sana bana, mambo ya shareholding. Utasemaje that if this area imevotia umse sana that wanapaswa kupata developments kushinda the other region?
I disagree with that. First of all, we are all Kenyans. We all need the service from the government. Despite somebody who got a lot of votes from a county, he's not supposed to go for favorism there. And that is the reason why corruption in our country will never end. Discrimination for tribalism will never end because of that thing, as like they say, the shareholder, because they voted a lot. So we should end this as the Gen Zs, because our country has a lot of resources which, if we mobilize them, all of them, will have a better country. And that is what we want in our country. 2027 is a vision for everyone, and the vision is with the Gen Z. So our parents, please sit down, relax, and enjoy this moment, because we'll have this country as we wish to. Everybody will enjoy every moment in this city. So I'll be glad to see the future with us, and I'll be glad to see the future for the generation Alpha in our hands.
Aya, na mbona fa kurudisha, lakini mtu mmoja anaambia message kwa Unatouch sahi, those leaders who still believe that this movement is tribal, mtaambiaje? Deka sekunde 30.
Asante. The message that we have to the people who think that Gen Zs are going to be divided is that munaona sasa hivi venye tunaungana, mnasema ati tunatumia mitandao nini. Come 2027 hatuna haraka sisi. Mko na vyama vyenu, sisi wenyewe tuko kwa ground. We know how we are going to mobilize ourselves when it comes to ballot issues and whatever, so that when that time comes, sisi wenyewe ndio tunajua ni watu wepi tunaenda kuweka pale. Hatutakuwa na maneno mingi, sisi wenyewe tunajijua. Na vyenye mnavyojua sasa hivi mnasema tunatumia mitandao. Hata hiyo wakati tutatumia mitandao na ballot papers ni sisi tutaamua ni akina nani watashinda.
Ndo washasema ikawatoka. Narudisha, washasema ikawatoka from ground manze. Umewasikia wamesema bado wako leaderless, apart from being tribeless, wako leaderless, wako formless. Kwanza wamesema sit back, relax and enjoy. Uone kenye watafanya come 2027. Narudisha studio. Naitwa Majibu na washapia na majibu yao.
Thank you so much, Majibu. As you've heard, watu kwa ground wamesema they are still tribeless. Vile tu tulianza 2024 is how we are in 2025. Now we are going to have more of this discussion here in studio. Tuko na panelists. Hey, wakali sana. We have political analysts, lawyers, activists. Hey, you guys, we are talking about it. Are we still tribeless? See you in a minute.
Meme TV.
People Daily, Kenya's trusted newspaper, is making history as the first daily to go fully digital. By transitioning from print to the PD News app, we are delivering the same exceptional journalism you've relied on for years in a completely new way to experience it. It's news for today and the future. No paper, no waste. Just real-time updates and customizable stories. This is a leap towards innovation, sustainability, and a better experience for you, our reader. Download the PD app now on Play Store and App Store. People Daily. News that moves with you.
Hwaine waku ukiria kwagirira ona makiria. Werorere tabarĩra ya Hũmũka. O mũthenya wa mwambĩrĩrio nginya wa gatano. Thaa 11 nginya thaa 1 cia hwaĩ-inĩ. Tũkĩaranĩria na ataaramu, ndeto canarũkũ na ndereti mwaki ciĩgiĩ kũgacĩrithia mũtũrĩre waku.
When you lose hope, uteaga kĩrĩgĩrĩro. No njohi na nyama na imwe nĩ tũramwĩra rĩngĩ nyama ndune nyingĩ ti njega.
Nĩ ũrĩ wona mwanake wa kanitha ũrenda kũhikia mũirĩtu. Have you ever seen that? Erutanagĩria mũno kũ make sure mũirĩtu ũcio every time hell wĩha.
Nĩwagũagũire na nĩguo warĩro wanyonagia wendo mũingĩ ngaigua ta ingĩgũrũka. Wanyonagia wendo sweetie ngaigua ta ingĩgũrũka.
Hũmũka hatarĩ ũndũ tangaja nĩguo canjamũra hwaĩ-inĩ waku. Mũthenya ũkĩinĩkĩrĩra Hũmũka na Nonsizi wa Ng'ethe o mwambĩrĩrio nginya wa gatano thaa 11 nginya thaa 1 cia hwaĩ-inĩ. Mũthenya mwega ũmenyekanaga riũa rĩkiuma ngo-inĩ, na ũngĩkorwo na mũtirithania mwega noguo mũthenya waku ũthakaraga na ũkagĩrĩra. Na nĩkĩo gũkũ gwa Kameme TV tũrĩtirithanagia nawe kwagĩrithia mũthenya waku.
Na niĩ Mũmbi wa Chege.
Njĩtagwo Kĩmani wa Ngũnjiri.
Na niĩ Njoroge wa Kĩmani.
Atunyitanĩre ithuothe niĩ Maina Kĩhumo.
O mũthenya wa Jumaine nginya wa gatano kwambĩrĩria thinacara cia kĩroko nginya thaa 4 cia rũcinĩ.
And welcome back to the Gen Z Manifesto again. Kazi yetu hapa ni kuongea itutoke, and today we are discussing about something sensitive, as I said as we were opening the show, tribalism. Swali ya leo ni Gen Zs, bado tuko tribeless? Now we asked you guys to tell us what you think on this matter, and we want to take some feedback from you guys back at home. Acha tusikie mnasemaje. Are we still tribeless? Dangote Besos Billy anasema we are all one with a common purpose. All right, thank you Dangote for your message. Wesley Kosgei anasema yes we are tribeless. Okay, Wesley. Star Boo anasema yeah yes we are according to us born 2003 plus. Okay, Star, you are tribeless. Okay. Shankur Moset Heto anasema kabisa tuko sure tumeka the right question. I don't know. Frederick Mjukuu anasema leaderless, tribeless, I support. All right, Frederick, thank you so much. Hillary Kamalishi anasema we are leaderless and tribeless one time. All right. Any other feedback? Scott Jack anasema K24 TV tuko tribeless, ni hao mafala huko juu ndio wanajaribu kutugawa. They are fools thinking we will fall for that. All right, mafala wanajaribu kutugawa, hata umerhyme. All right, kijana wa Anko anasema one time. But did you answer the question? Are you tribeless or not? Someone else says we are tribeless. Na wenye wanalipwa, just tell them that if you can sell your brother, then the buyer has no reason to trust you. Okay? Kawoi Kadabra anasema we are still tribeless. We don't want those political leaders taking advantage of us to boost their political class. Thank you Kawoi. Marshall anasema huku tuko tribeless, lakini hapo kwa leaderless na gava tunawafichia white wasituingililie. Okay Marshall, I see you. Now, acha sasa tuingie studio. As you've heard there, kuna Gen Zs wenye wanadai kuwa they are not tribeless. And I turn to my people here. Is it naive for us to think that we are all agreeing that we are not tribeless as Gen Zs?
I think, honestly speaking, it's naive for us to think that we are all exemplary tribeless because there are people...
Kidogo tu, let's wash out the mic.
Oh, it's not on.
You can have this. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
I think that for starters, it's right for us to actually admit the truth as it stands. Yes, majority of us come to the streets. Yes, majority of us are in the field there. Yes, majority of us are learned enough to understand various ethnic lines are not worth the trouble, but there are still people out there who are culturally indoctrinated from birth, even in schools, even in the system. And tribalism is a systemic problem that we've been facing, and it's a milestone that Gen Zs have been able to overcome that with evidence of last year, June 25th. And that's the problem, that the government has seen that, one, state power doesn't work with the Gen Zs anymore. As much as they'll still abduct people and take people down, people will still show up. They're seeing that it's not working anymore. The tactics and methods they used with the political legacy period that we had during that time in history. And now they're pulling the trump card of regional segregation and tribal segregation. Ideas such as people of this region, members of this tribe, people of this locality were the ones who deserve to attack these or the ones who are attacked by these. These kind of outplays are basically what are trying to tell us that political clientelism is still working in the system, and they want the Gen Zs to fall into that trap. But it's a beautiful thing that we are sitting here today with a lot of us from different backgrounds, different places, and we do not need to identify ourselves by the background that we come from for us to relate with one another. It's beautiful to see that people actively do not embrace this ideology. So for starters comments, the viewers out there, they need to see that people out there are not tribal as they want it to look like, especially the political legacy politicians. We are not tribal.
Okay.
We don't stand by that.
Thank you. So you're saying Gen Z's kuna progress tumefanya when it comes to tribalism. I want to move on to Sophie.
Yeah, I think there's way much more progress than what has ever been seen, and that scares a lot of the politicians and the people in government who don't want this progress.
Thank you so much. Sophie, tulianza na roho ni kama tunamalizia na mwili. Last year, 2024, nothing about tribes was ever heard, or it was rarely heard. But sai when you scroll on TikTok, kwa comment sections hapo, people wanarushiana maneno, oh, nyinyi wa Jaluo, oh, nyinyi wa Kikuyu, this is your fault. Really? What is happening? What would you say has changed between 2024 and 2025 when it comes to tribelessness?
Ms. K, I still believe, I still believe we're tribeless. Unajua gava ina overwork kudiscredit the Gen Z movement. So hata ukiingia kwa hizo comment section, most of the people who comment there si organic. Sometimes si organic. I tend to believe that. Wana overwork kutu discredit. Na how can we be tribal, Ms. K, and on 25th tulitoa 27 counties inje. Na unajua walikuwa nasema hii story ni rigiji. By the political class mnafaa kuacha kupatia rigiji so much relevance. Juu ukikuja hapa kwa Gen Z movement, rigiji hayuko na hata kuwa anytime soon. At the end you are to influence tutoke nje. So hii narrative ya tribal ni kutu distract. Kwa nini na to distract? If you look around, you're not seeing anything to smile about. Nini ilifanya Albert akufe? Albert alikufa juu highlight corruption yenye iko hapo kwa National Police Service. Kuna mtu anaongelelea hiyo story sahi. Hiyo story imeland. Wacha hata story ya Albert kukufa. The root of him dying is the corruption in the National Police Service. The essence of a revolution is to remove the old order and to bring in a new order. Old order yenye tunatoa kama Gen Z, number one ni hiyo story ya tribal. Na in fact tunataka ku attract a new crop of leaders who respect the constitution and not taint it. So sisi kukua tribeless is part of us bringing in a new culture that will, number one, respect the constitution.
Thank you so much. Linda, as Sophie speaks, it sounds like it seems the political class are trying to, you know, make us pawns in their...
To divide them.
Yeah, in their
sort of divide and rule, you know. But we don't know. I love the way they are arguing so far. I love the way they're saying they're not tribal and that it's the political class that are really bringing in this argument. Let me begin with you, Maggie. Are you tribeless? And while you answer that as well, tell us, with this generation that we are right now, what would you replace this with? Because most of them have argued that there is no tribal lines right here. What do you embrace in this generation?
Thank you so much, Linda, for having us here. We are tribeless, but we are not formless, as Majibu has stated. Everything around politics revolves around constitution, and I will mention one article, Article 131, 2C. It states about the roles of the president, including promoting and enhancing national unity. Again, it states about mobilization and avoiding tribal favorism when it comes to appointments and public service. But what have we seen? That right now, we have so many people in those sections who have been appointed through nepotism, which is very wrong. When it comes now to the Gen Zs, now us, we've always been to the streets, issue-based, not tribe-based. You'll never hear anybody stating that I've come here for tribal favors. You always hear that we've come here for accountability as a nation. Again, we have always been now off from the era of stating that about new identification culture. Kitambo ungesikia mtu akisema, ukiuliza wewe umetoka wapi? Mi ni Mkikuyu, ama mtu anakuuliza mi ni Mkikuyu. Now, there is nothing like that. Somebody is asking you, what's your name? And you're from Kenya, you know. No, we're off from that. And yeah, we agree that kitambo kulikuwa na hizi mambo za political and tribal based. But I think we are off the hook. As you can look now that there have been many social media movements going around, youth for youth, yeah. Again, tena, sahi hata ukikuja kwa movement kama hii, hatutakuuliza sijui umetoka nini, sijui umetoka wapi. We always want to check on what can we help, especially stand, to omit anything to do with tribe. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Maggie. Let me move to the back just a little bit before I come to the front yet again. Introduce yourself and also tell me, with this generation, they're trying to break the stereotype. What do you make of this topic today?
Thanks for having me. I'm Nyabulo Kinyo, an economist with a background in finance and banking. As a youth and a leader in the space of economy, I interact with youths from day-to-day activities, and I urge them to engage in long-term saving and early investment. Well, in regard to whether the Gen Z are still tribeless, the political class has still not yet gotten it. Gen Z is tribeless. It's a symbolism. It's a unique realization and a universal discovery that the common problems we have together, such as punitive taxes, unemployment, and a runaway corruption, transcend tribal lines. An average youth have come together for a common goal. Jobs, jobs, jobs. An average young entrepreneur, they have come together for one goal: funding, SME, and loans. The Kenya National Bureau of Statistics has released a data that 67% who occur to be the youth are unemployed and are aged between 18 to 34. That paints a clearly horrifying picture, and this problem, it is intentional by the government. The government of Kenya has continuously put overhead costs ahead of imperative youth needs. For example, an average youth does not have a means to save, because as an economist, saving is a function of income. Basically, to save, you need to have a source of income. And once you lack a source of income, you will have almost insignificant amount to save. Therefore, the government needs to develop, to transform an agricultural industry so that it can equip the youths and give them more opportunity to create jobs. Furthermore, we have...
I'm trying to blend this conversation with the being tribeless.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Tribeless.
Briefly though,
Yes, tribeless is a symbolism. Yes, tribeless means we have come together to face a common problem. And when I speak for the youth, because an average youth has no job. Because when I say right now, I have no job, a youth doesn't have a job, I have touched 67% of the youths, because that is the common problem and that's the elephant in the room. I want us to digress the conversation from Mandamano probably, or these other issues, because, or tribes. We want to discuss the real issue, the elephant in the room.
Okay, we'll come back to you a little bit later, but Miss K, let's get some feedback.
Right. Acha tusikie watu wanasema nini back at home. First of all, thank you always for tuning in to watch our show Gen Z Manifesto. We appreciate you. Now, bado swali yetu ni Gen Z, bado tuko tribeless. Are we still tribeless as we began in 2024? Let's see some feedback from you guys watching at home. Someone is saying we will enjoy together and suffer together. Nagava isichoke kutumada. Kill me today and bring my brother and cousins to the street. The person here is quite ready to die for the country. Another person says we have youth leaders in parliament but do nothing. Youth leaders are important. Okay. Another person says I hope one time thing will be okay when we pray. God remember Kenya. Anasema maombi mbele. All right. Another person says we are digitalized generation. He gava tunaiblo na votes ka Vietnam coming election. Tagawa Shidoshi from Naivasha. Thank you so much, Tagawa. Another person says we are tribeless, but ubaya hawa majenzi hawapigi kura. 2027 majenzi, mtakosa kupiga kura kweli. Now, another person says his Bruno Cherangan is watching, and we are tribeless. Thank you, Bruno, for your feedback. Another one says we are more than 100% tribeless. The problem comes from our leaders. They want to divide Kenyans. Come 2027, we are the ones to make Kenya stand like never before. Hashtag we are tribeless. Thank you so much for your feedback. Another says we have leaders we know and what we want. And yeah, we are tribeless. Okay. Cosmas Mutevia says we are tribeless kama Gen Z. We have one mission ya kufukuza Kasongo. Again, who is this guy? Adui ni Kasongo. Mtu ni kama hamumpendangi. Another person says, yo, we stand united beyond tribal lines. We don't see each other through the lens of ethnicity. We see humanity, purpose, and a shared future. We are tribeless by choice. We are tribeless by choice. Okay, thank you so much for the feedback. Keep them coming. We're going to read them as the show goes on. For now, let me get to Kagina and his panel.
Well, indeed, we've had people define tribalism differently from every quarter. Now, on this side of the panel, I'm joined by two people. We have Adrian Oluoch, who is a lawyer as well as a governance expert. And tonight, I brought you a political scientist as well as a governance expert, Jim India. Now, probably to start with Adrian here. Someone has said that, you know, being tribeless is a notion. I'd love to know how you define tribelessness from where you sit, and tribalism for that matter. And are we, or is the Gen Z tribeless?
So, first of all, when you talk about tribalism, you ask yourself one critical question. Does Kenya have a tribalism problem? Do I hate you because you're Kikuyu? Do you hate me because I'm Luo? Is there any time whereby we have come up in arms in a tribal clash between Kikuyus and Luos? In a tribal clash between Kikuyus and Luos, killing each other because you are Kikuyu and you're Luo? Absolutely not. The problem that Kenya has right now is a tribal mental indoctrination that is perpetuated by our politicians, whereby they drive a narrative that if you do not have someone in high office, you will be marginalized as a community. That if you do not have someone in high office, you'll not be getting jobs, you'll not be getting development, you'll not be getting projects, which are equal rights and entitlement for every Kenyan.
All right.
So while we were with Sophie, before even we came here, Sophie told me that I'm supposed to be celebrating my tribe. Well, there is a difference between tribe and ethnicity. In fact, in our own constitution, it says that our culture and ethnicity is the foundation of us as a people. So there is a big line between ethnicity and tribalism. Tribalism is the extreme allegiance to your tribe to the detriment of other people. So we have to draw a boundary between tribal and ethnicity. I am proud as a Luo, and I love my culture, the food and everything. And we as a people have been a foundation for this country. That is ethnicity. But tribalism is an illogical allegiance towards my own tribe that I cannot think about me providing services for people just because they are from my tribe, and I cannot give to others because they are not from my tribe.
All right. Thank you very much. And now to Jim India. Observing how the political scene has been in the country for quite some time, going back in history to where we are since independence, is the possibility of being tribeless actual? Ama tunajichocha?
I think tunajichocha because our tribe, the Project Kenya is a colonial creation. There was no such thing. We did not come together as a people and decide we want to live together as Kenyans. Project Kenya was a colonial creation. It was how the Muzungu decided to extract from us, put us all together. That's why you have the Luo of Kenya and the Luo of Uganda. You have the Bantu here and the another Bantu elsewhere. So it was a creation. We did not willingly come together as 42 tribes and decide to do this. This is a consequence of colonialism. And then the second thing that the colonialists then did is that we embraced our tribes and used our tribes as tools of fighting the colonialists. That's how the Kavirondo are able to organize themselves. That's how the Mau Mau are able to organize themselves. That's how the Mekatililis are able to organize themselves and fight against the colonialist. So our tribes then became weapons because it was difficult for a Kikuyu to reach a Luo on the other side. But it was easy for them to organize themselves around the mountain and put up a resistance. Same thing to the Luya around where they are, it is easy for them to put up a resistance. And so we used our tribes to fight the colonialist. And then when we got into independence, the colonialists realized this tribal thing is a powerful force that can be used for good. So we then started having this thing called nationalist leaders. So all across this continent, you have these people called nationalist leaders. Kenyatta, they branded him a nationalist leader, and everyone else. But what it was meant to do was to take away your Africanness, and you start embracing this colonial creation, was to take away your language, our food, and our culture, so that when you start embracing these other things. And we did it. But the result of it is that from 1960, the Kenyatta administration, Kenyatta 1 administration, then weaponized this thing called tribalism that he's talking about to become now a political philosophy of excluding and marginalizing certain communities. That's how you end up with what was called Sessional Paper Number 10, drafted by Mboya and Kibaki in the 60s, which basically said that we are going to only prioritize high-producing areas. Now, high-producing areas were the highlands. Those are the high-producing areas which experience rainfall. So you then marginalized the entire northern frontier for decades because they were not highly producing. That was tribalism, that they weaponized it. Then successive regimes, the Moi regime did the same. Kibaki, in 2002, when he came in, he was supposed to be a reformer, filled government with folks from his community, and these people went on a plundering spree, leaving this country dry. So tribalism, where it started was a form of resistance. But how successful politicians have used it has been to develop, to enrich themselves. And so right now what we are fighting is a philosophy that has been with us for decades. Yes. And these young people are saying that they are tribeless, and I'm happy for them. However, please do not let that take away the fact that you are Kikuyu and embrace your Kikuyuness. Because at MCA level, you're going to vote a Kikuyu. If you're in the village, majority of us live in the rural areas. MP, you're going to vote a Kikuyu. Governor, senator, women rep. It's only at president where you're asking majority of you to then now become tribal or tribeless. So again, you realize that the whole idea of tribalism has nothing to do with us. It is the politician who is benefiting, whether we are tribal or not. For me, what is important, I don't care how tribal or tribeless you are. Can you vote in people who have values? Because that's how we end up with the murderers and looters in parliament. Because yes, you call yourself tribeless, and then you come here in Nairobi and look at the people we elect.
All right, Jim, recently we've had waves of demonstrations and protests by the Gen Zs, and we've had political quarters attempt to brand them as tribal uprisings. Do you agree with them? It is for political, even this conversation is for political expediency. It's how politicians even end up framing media narratives. For instance, a week after the protest, we're here talking about whether we are tribal or not. Imagine, 6 lives lost, or more than 6 lives lost. People still being abducted. But we are gathered here, sharp minds, everywhere, talking about whether we are tribal or not. The reason is, what was the first thing that the Murkomens and Ruto's Murkomen and all the rest of them said? That this is a Kikuyu uprising. And then all of us got so angry and decided, no, we are not. We are busy defending people who we have no business defending. We have no business defending our actions. All we have is to do what we need to do, because you know why you went out to the streets. So to brand us as a tribal uprising and as a tribal protest is so that you take away, what this government is good as, is that if it cannot deal with an issue, it either silences it through murder and abductions, or it drowns it with its own noise. So it creates its own noise, and its own noise right now is tribalism. So this is all government propaganda that we are listening to. Yeah. Every young person who went out to the street, you know why you went. And I don't care. If you went out to the street because you're tribal, I am happy for you. Because we need as many numbers. If your tribalism will inspire you to bring change in this country, well and good, be as tribal. My name is Jim India. I am tribal. I am an anarchist. I am a terrorist. I am, what else do they call us? I am all those things. If those things inspire me to bring change, I embrace it. Well, all right. We'll be coming back to this conversation right after this short commercial break. So, usijaribu kwenda mahali.
Matuko maninagwo nĩ gũkĩa na nĩkĩo Farmhold Ventures Limited kambuni ĩrĩa kũrekaine harĩ wendia na wĩigithia wa ng'ũndũ ĩtigagĩrĩra nĩ yamũrehera project ngũrani na mwĩhoko mwerũ nĩ gũkorwo kwĩhokwo nĩ ndwano ĩtahĩtagia kĩũngũyũ.
Barabara-inĩ nene ya Thika Garissa Road o ndagĩka 10 tu kuma taũni nene ya Matu tũkamũrehera Ikatini Gardens na thogora wa 230,000 na kuo mwena wa Gĩthiũkũ o ndagĩka 5 tu kuma Rami-inĩ tũkamũrehera Evergreen Gardens Phase 2 brodi cia 50 by 100 na thogora wa 130,000
na warĩkia kwĩgwatĩra title deed ĩguoko.
No tũcerere wabici-inĩ itũ Riruton Doctors Plaza 2nd floor kana wabici itũ ya Thika Maisha Heights 3rd floor. Namba itũ ya thimũ nĩyo 0704 000 333.
Muthenya mwega umenyekanaga riũa rĩkiuma ngo-inĩ na ũngĩkorwo na mũtirithania mwega noguo muthenya waku ũthakaraga na ũkagĩrĩra na nĩkĩo gũkũ gwa Kameme TV tũrĩtirithanagia nawe kwagĩrithia muthenya waku.
Na niĩ mũmbi wa Chege.
Njĩtagwo Kĩmani wa Ngũnjiri.
Na niĩ Njoroge wa Kĩmani.
Atunyitanĩre ithuothe niĩ Maina Kĩhumo.
O muthenya wa Jumaine nginya wa Gatano kwambĩrĩria thinacara cia kĩroko nginya thaa 4 cia rũcinĩ.
mbata niye nongo mbata Oigaji koro ke nongo die Nekere ungo kararie Mahoya male matiambelelia Nigedarelia kogo daira Kai wako au kanjigua Demogore Nada kamea Jesu Ukabadi Nane narata Koromagirewe
And welcome back. This is the Gen Z Manifesto. Kama kawaida hapa form ni kuongea ikutoke. Now before tuende break, kuliwaka moto kidogo. One of our panelists, Jim, hata anashangaa why we are here talking about tribalism. And I want to ask this guy here, do you think this tribal talk is just, a distraction by the political class? Ama, do we really have a tribalism problem that we actually do need to talk about?
Oh, thank you very much. So my name is Newton Kinywa, forensic scientist, stroke eco-recycler. As for me, I'll agree with my brother here. First of all, we must come to an understanding, to understand like what does it mean by the term tribeless. Tribeless, it means that, in fact, I'm not tribeless. I have a tribe. I'm a proud Meru. But being tribeless, it means, if I say I'm tribeless, it means I don't associate like with what other leaders from my political area, let's say Meru, are saying, or like understanding what they're saying. So being tribeless, I'm trying to like come in a conclusion that it's not all about like I come from Meru, I come from Kamba or all that. It's just like a narrative. Another thing, let me digress a little bit. I'm a bit spiritual. I came to think about it after I was invited to this talk. I looked at it this way. This thing of tribalism, it's like a seed. Everything comes in form of a seed. Either a farmer planting a crop, either, let's say, conceiving, it comes in form of a seed. So this thing of tribalism, like it was planted, it was sowed like many years ago by colonialists. They used it like to divide people. You found like there was some communities who were given much like positions, much awareness. So these other communities that are marginalized, they felt like so it was a seed that was planted. After independence, the politicians, the leaders watered it. Are you getting my point?
We
really
are following.
They watered it. That seed, they watered it. It grew. It grew very well. And it also has fruits of hatred, of division, of everything. Like and us as Gen Zs, the only way we can like end this thing of tribalism once and for all is either tukuje na machete tukate hiyo mti yenye ilipandwa, ama we plant another tree of not being tribeless. We must be proud of our culture. It's part of us. Everybody has an origin. You come from somewhere, you come from somewhere. All of you come from somewhere. We all have an origin. We all associate with something. But we must plant a new seed of hope. So when the government see us as labeling us ourselves as tribeless, they should not fear. I wonder why likes of the government propagandists, they come with like many issues concerning. They should not fear. All we want to do is we are trying to plant a seed of hope, another tree. We are sowing another tree of being tribeless to the generations to come, to my kids.
You.
Thank you.
Okay. I want to come to the guy in the front here. What are your opinions on this matter?
Okay. My name is Jeff Mwendo, a youth advocate and a writer on politics. My answer on the fact that are Gen Zs tribeless or not, lies in the two protests that we have seen last year and this year, when young people organized and said reject Finance Bill 2024. There was nothing tribal about that. The issues that currently are facing the young people have forced them to walk out of their tribal cocoons. Because now we are realizing someone like Albert Ojwang is dead. Someone like Boniface Kariuki is dead. When you hear a young person whom you knew has died because they tweeted something, the issue of tribe immediately leaves your mind. So Kenyans are very tribal people, yes, because sometimes we marry along tribal lines. But now the issues that we have started facing under this government have forced us to go away from the issue to do with tribe. Because what do you mean I've gone to school, I've done my degree, and I do not have a job? How do you tell me that the first thing that I will think about when I go to the ballot is who is from my tribe? Mm-hmm. So the political class needs to understand that the issues that we are currently facing right now, it will be very difficult for you to drive us towards the tribal narrative, because people are being pushed to the edge. Today, when there was a court, we had a court ruling, and someone stood up and spoke up that people are getting abducted. Nobody cared who is this guy, where is he from, what tribe is he from. People were really emotional about it, and they wanted to know this guy is speaking up. So the issues that we are facing right now are forcing us not to become tribal. And that's what the political class need to understand. And people need to ask themselves, why is it that names like Maraga and Omtata are coming up amongst the young people? And it's simply because of one reason. It's because these guys have shown themselves to defend the constitution. So it shows that the young people are respecting. Why would young people who are between 23, 30, 25, why would someone who is 74, like former Chief Justice David Maraga, be popular? And he's 74. It's because he has shown that he respects the constitution. So now young people are starting to go for, we respect the constitution, we don't care what tribe you're from. And another thing that young people need to understand, just let me finish up, yeah? Okay. Another thing that young people need to understand, and the politicians need to understand, is that the Gen Z movement is spontaneous. Today you might think that we do not have a candidate, but we might even have a candidate a month to the elections. The Gen Z protests were not even planned. They just happened. A movement happened, and within no time, millions were out.
Thank you.
Thank you
so much. Maybe we could listen to the lady here with
Yes,
a tribal kimono. You know, she looks amazing.
Do you think Gen Zs are concerned much about their personal identity over group identity? That so many years people have been calling this tribal. Yeah.
Good evening. My name is Asha Murigi, founder of the NM Foundation. And by that, I identify by serving communities and not a specific community where I come from. And this notion, what he said, this is just a distraction. I mean, sorry to say this, but we are talking about 90% of young people who cannot even have a conversation in their mother tongue, and you want to call them terrible. I mean, so this is just a distraction, and I am glad that we are moving the same way we are embracing tech is the same way we are embracing a new face of politics. We are so used to things like political parties which have been rooted and have foundations in tribes, but now Gen Zs are all about what do you bring to the table? This is something that has struck the corporate world and many other people who have been complaining about the Gen Zs, but I like the notion of it's not who you are, where are you from, or who you identify as. It's what do you bring to the table? What policies are you bringing? So we are done with the foundations, and now we are identifying with the policies that are coming. What are we pushing? So it's no longer a tribe thing. It's more of a policy thing. It's not a who thing. It's about what it is you're going to do for us. Yes.
Just like a romantic relationship, a marriage, what are you bringing to the table?
Thank you so
Tell
much.
us.
Ms. K, allow me to speak to this gentleman right here. Tell me, what then should be done to break this norm that Gen Zs perhaps could be manipulated to be tribal?
First of all, I'm Kevin and mimi ni hustler mbaya, lakini si yenye hii government ili promise. So far, their bottom up inafanya kazi vizuri, wanakuchukua, wanakuweka hivi, wanachukua each and every cent you have in your pocket. Now, I want Kenyans to listen to me, even not the government, the Kenyans only. Iko wapi kamera ya Kenyans? Okay. All of us, we must be tribeless. Not Gen Z only. A tribeless ni mwenye ako 40, mwenye ako 50, ako 70. Join us in this fight. Mimi hata leo nikikuja hapa mkoro wangu ameniambia, Kevin, umeenda kujianika. Jianiki, I'm fighting for good governance. I'm fighting Kenyans, we end this chronism we have. Ndo maana unacheki tukienda street kuna watu anamadwa juu IG aliko hapo because of a favor. Sayo inaleta the tribal card, and we are ready to hit the streets each and every day until tusikike. No, it is my weapon, my bottle, my flag. Tukiwa streets, hizi ndo weapons zetu. For the government, is the bullets, and we will not fear. Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. From you, what would you make of this topic today?
Okay, thank you for having me. My name is Mixon Mwangi, and kwa topic ya if you're tribeless, naweza sema ni a two-way thing. First of all, I'm Kikuyu, a very proud Kikuyu. Lakini my culture is not my identity. Siwezi sema ati just because I'm Kikuyu ndakuwa tu nimefungiwa in one dome, like I'm there na socialize na Kikuyu and all that. Mimi hadi ni yule msee naweza sema I'm Kikuyu lakini sijui kuibonga, but nasikia. Wewe ukiniambia kitu ndasikia, ndakuongelesha Kiswahili or whatever. But story ya tribalism inaturudisha nyuma. Tukiangalia our past leaders, like kwa kiti kubwa, which is the presidency, imekuwa between the Kalenjins and Kikuyu mostly. Actually ni hao tu. So tunataka tuone historia. Mimi just because kumekuwa na 3 presidents ama ni 4 wamekuwa Kikuyu, si ati niko proud of that. Ni ile vile brother pale alisema, hii ni a colonial thing. Msika Kenyatta hakupigania kitu yoyote. Mandela alikuwa anashindaga UK nini akizunguka na kina Queen Elizabeth or whatever. You see? So sisi tukiwa hapa akakaa akaplantiwa hapo as a president, aka take over nini, ndio maana kulikuwa na some uprising kidogo, zinakuwa shashed kidogo vile, pia sisi tunakuwa shashed hapa saa hizi. Tukiangalia pia na acha niende na appointments zinamakiwa kwa gava saa hii. Yeah. Ukiangalia Prezo ameka Mkale ama sijui ni Mnandi, sijuangi kudifferentiate hizo vitu. Amekuwa kwa amepromotiwa from the kukua sijui leader wa nini tuaje army. So hiyo ni msee anaonyesha ameogopa, so anajaribu kuplant msee hapo mwenye atakuwa yes man wake, like a puppet. Tukienda nje wanatupigana maraba, wanasema ati walipiga msee raba ya kichwa, sisi amededi. Either way ni bullet. So sasa wanataka kuleta army, of which najua KDF ina to protect and all that. I hope so, si ati niko sure. I hope hizo ma appointments ana make hapo, anajua anajaribu kujiprotect and all that.
Thank you.
So we are tribeless either way. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm Eric Kim, the President, Embu Tertiary Student Association. Now, as we delve into this matter, tribalism, I would first start by saying tribe, or being tribal or not, is basically a political creation to disrupt people. And I want to give a case example. When you are in the university or wherever you are, you don't mind the tribe of your lecturer. When you go to the hospital, you do not mind the tribe of your neurosurgeon. As I was coming here, when I got an Uber, I just told him, good evening, how are you? I didn't ask him, what is your tribe? So I want to say that even in the most basic forms, Kenyans have lived in a way that suggests they are tribeless. The issue of tribalism comes in the political arena, where leaders want to align you into tribes so that the numbers can tally. And I want to say this, the Gen Z movement was not inspired by tribe. The youth of this nation were united by issues, by ideas. They wanted a better Kenya. They were united by things like lack of employment, corruption in our government systems, and extrajudicial killings and things like that. And that is what made them go out to the streets in a dissenting voice. But they were met with bullets and tear gas.
Right.
But I have to say this, the Gen Z revolution is an extraordinary protest. Previously, we could see Kenyans going to the protests to defend mtu wao, kwa sababu sijui probably thinks aliibiwa kura or something. But the Gen Z went to the streets because they want a better Kenya. And I want to say this, the Gen Z revolution is not just a protest. It is an idea. It is a dream. That is where we are seeing people saying, I'm ready to die so that we have a better Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Watu wameinject his side, most of them, actually all of them, have said that they are indeed tribeless. Kagina, back to your panel.
Yeah, mnaweza tuita manas juu ya venye tuna inject.
Hey, come on, come on.
But coming back to this side of the conversation, right before we left this conversation, very heated here, Adrian, have you found yourself at a position where you disliked someone basically because they're not from your culture?
Why would that happen? I'm a very educated youth. And any person who's educated, your education is very useless if you cannot see beyond your tribe and ethnicity. Yeah. And as I started, I said clearly, in Kenya, there is no problem of tribalism. We have no issue of tribalism. As I have said, it is just a tribal mental indoctrination. And the reason why you should know this is because tribes only matter when it comes to political organization and a round up to election. Because you know why? It is easier for me to come and tell a group of people, I'm going to be representing you just because I'm a Luo. When I tell them that, they shift the conversation from scrutiny of policy and governance affairs to now that we're having a Luo up there. And that is why this Gen Z movement is very dangerous. And let me tell you why. We had Kalonzo, we had Eugene Wamalwa laying flowers in parliament. It got nobody's attention. You ask yourself, these people have been our leaders. Is there anything that has been inspiring about Kalonzo or Eugene Wamalwa? No. It's because Kalonzo has been commanding a background of the Ukambani people whereby he has his MPs. So there is nothing inspiring about this leader. It is just that he has convinced his own people that I am the right leader, Kalonzo. So anytime I go in front there, I am the right man. So there is no day he's coming with a discussion that the people of Ukambani, we are going to have this policy for you, we are going to do this for you. No. He's coming to tell you, I have a coalition with Raila Amolo Odinga. I have a coalition with Uhuru Kenyatta, and this time we are going to win. That has been the discussion, and that is why this Gen Z movement is very, very dangerous. In fact, right now, there is rumors that Kalonzo will be joining Ruto. It is because he has also realized that the Gen Zs have known that there is nothing inspiring about him as a leader.
Right, he's not here to respond to that, but allow me to go to Jim. When we talk about this new dynamic that is now getting into Kenyan politics, where we are not, flocking together based on the tribes that we belong to, will that change the politics of this country?
Often they've said that, people get the leaders that they deserve.
Yes.
And I would say for a long time we have deserved the leaders that we've gotten. Our voting patterns, our attitudes towards each other have sort of made us deserve the bad leadership, the corruption. But I think this generation is giving hope. They know that they deserve better. they know their rights, they know that Kenya can and should be better. And it's not just a knowledge, they're demanding for it. And progressively what you're going to see is that the leadership will soon have to reflect that. Like it will have to happen. Whether it's in the next election, it is now people start electing leaders based on this belief system that they have. And so you start electing 10 MPs, and that becomes 20, and that becomes 50. And those members of parliament then know who their constituents are. Their constituents didn't elect them so that they can go to State House and say, yes, sir. Their constituents elected them so that they can, in what I keep saying, that the only manifesto any president needs is the constitution. Tekeleza katiba. Yeah. You know, because issue of tribalism, the constitution already cured it. That's why we have how we share revenue to all 47 counties. Hakuna county yote. By the way, devolution, that was how we were curing. Saizi, kama kuna mtu huko Turkana anasema ati they are marginalized, aongee na Nanok mwenye alikuwa governor wao 10 years, aongee na governor wao wa sahi. Aongee nao kwanza kabla wakuja watusumbue huku, aongee nao kwanza. Kama mtu huko Homa Bay anasema aende atafute Cyprian Awiti, aongee na Cyprian Awiti na aongee na current governor anaitwa Wanga. Hao ndio watu wamewa marginalized, sio national government, kwa sababu disbursement imefanyika. So mimi, tribalism was cured through devolution. These young people have decided that they're going to change this country, and mark my words, it is going to change. Whether people brand them as tribal or not, it is going to change. Absolutely. It might be gradual, because change is gradual and it takes time, but it has to happen.
All right, now even as we wrap up this conversation, time is flying here in Gen Z Manifesto. Starting with Adrian, would you give us your parting shot even as your Jim prepares?
So my parting shot on this discussion of tribalism, as I stand and I say, youths, emancipate yourself. Emancipate yourself from this tribal rhetoric that you're having. Emancipate yourself from this indoctrination that these people are trying to come with us.
All right, thank you. Jim India?
Branding this movement as tribal makes Ruto and his gang sleep at night. So please, let them sleep at night by branding it tribal. But for you, young person, whatever inspires you to go to the streets, get out.
Well, indeed, from the conversation tonight, I'd say it's a waste of time trying to push a narrative on how tribal the Gen Z movement and uprising has been, and walking away from the issues that they are actually raising. And so my call to the political class who have been enjoying the narrative is wake up. Enough of sleep. Amka. That's all from me. I'm David Kagina.
Well, Kagina, you know, that has been quite an insightful discussion right there. And one thing that I believe is that tribalism ends where truth begins. And as journalists, that's where we stand, where the truth begins. My name is Linda Koskesi. Again next Tuesday for yet another exciting manifesto.
Thank you so much, Linda. Now that was a vibrant conversation and I love it for us. I love this show. I love what we're doing. I love that we're bringing in, you know, vibrant and intellectual youths who know what they want for Kenya. Now, as we close the show tonight, here are my 2 cents. Dear leaders, look, the desperation is beginning to show and it's not cute anymore. I mean, pulling the tribal card over and over has us thinking that you're running out of ideas to do what you do best. Lure the Mwananchi to take part in your twisted ways of remaining in power. It's a shame. It's a shame that aside from corruption in government, you are now hell-bent on corrupting the minds of young people who are trying so hard to remain sane in this insane political environment that you have created by shrinking their real issue-based protests to tribal protests, completely ignoring their plea for a better country and using time and energy to argue with each other in parliament and on sunroofs about what the other tribe has done or not done to the other. I mean, let's be for real. It's 2025. Did we not learn our lessons in 1992 and again in 2007? And to my fellow young people, before you climb the backs of your tribesmen in support of their twisted agendas based only on the mere fact that you are from the same village, ask yourself, who will the chaos serve in the long run? You see, participating in diabolical activities for your elite villager on a promise that you will eat on the big table is like a police officer actually shooting to kill just because a minister said so on a promise of being protected after. It's a lie. Don't lose the plot. We have a country to save. We have peace to maintain. So stay woke, brethren. I rest my case. That's it from us tonight. My name is Miss Kahira, and this has been the Gen Z Manifesto. See you next Tuesday. Same time, same place. Good night.
TV Muthegi wa Rũrĩrĩ.
Na kisha moja kwa moja mtazamaji, basi nakupeleka hapa basi hadi kwa upande wa Japana. Kati huo magaidi wakaanza kuchokoza jamaa fulani alikuwa gaidi ya Zunyuizi na familia yake. Wewe, kwa nini mnakaa kwa meza yetu? Kwa nini mnakuja kukaa kwa meza yetu? Sasa jamaa wetu Taika kuona hivyo akaumwa. Mwanzo hapa mtazamaji ni kwa restaurant, sio kwa nyanya yako. Hii ni restaurant. Mtu analetwa hapa na pesa zake. Haya! Kaona akiwa na umama, akamuita kamama. Kamama, pigwa shock.